It's Friday, the 14th of July. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel from the affiliate office overseas here in Dublin, Ireland. And if you, like many of us, fly with an iPad or some sort of device, especially if it is not securely attached to the airframe of your aircraft, you need to watch this video and this accident investigation of a double fatal accident caused by an iPad that got loose in the cockpit. The NTSB has just released the public docket of the crash of the CH-47D helicopter while fighting wildfires in Idaho, near North Fork, Idaho, on the Salmon River. This accident occurred back on July 21st of 2022. The public docket is all the information that the NTSB has regarding the accident, and from this information, they will make a final report, which will be out very soon. Turn to the section of the report called the Exemplar Helicopter and iPad Examination Summary. On July 21st, 2022, about 16:44 Mountain Daylight Time, a Columbia helicopter CH-47D November 388 Romeo Alpha was destroyed when it was involved in an accident near North Fork, Idaho. The pilot and co-pilot were fatally injured. The helicopter was operated under FAR Part 137, aerial firefighting. A 38-second video of the accident was recorded, which we saw earlier, by a ground witness and was provided to investigators. The video showed that the helicopter was setting up to dip the water bucket in the Salmon River. The helicopter was facing east and hovering about 250 feet above the river. Generally, the helicopter began a left yaw turn that continued until the helicopter impacted the river. Details of the examination. During recovery of the accident helicopter, the flight crew's Apple iPad was found in the river near the cockpit. Figure 1 shows the overall damage to the iPad as recovered. There were 3 distinct gouge marks on the left side of the iPad and its case when viewed in portrait mode. The iPad exhibited a bend from the back of the case toward the screen. The top 2 gouges extended from the edge of the case inward into the screen about 3 inches. The bottom gouge was shallower and does not extend into the screen. And figure 1, here's the condition of the iPad with the 3 distinct gouges on the left side. To facilitate the examination, the operator provided access to an example Columbia helicopter CH-47D, whose cockpit was configured similarly to that of the accident helicopter, and then the following items were completed to set up this helicopter the way they found it in the accident. Auxiliary power unit was turned on, power transfer unit 1 and 2 on to supply hydraulic assisted power. The trim release was turned on via the switch on the center console, which unlocked the yaw magnetic brake, resulting in the pedals staying in position once foot pressure was relieved from the pedals. On the left, the pilot's controls, the left pedal was pushed forward, which resulted in the left pedal to move forward also, of course, because the rudder pedals are interconnected. On the co-pilot side, the iPad was placed between the left pedal and airframe next to the heel slide support assembly. So you see in this picture here, they've dropped the iPad right down below the co-pilot's feet into this well where the rudder pedals are. Once the iPad was placed in the co-pilot's left pedal area, the pilot's pedal were slowly manipulated in order to determine how the position of the iPad would change. Additional pressure was applied to the pilot's left pedal, which allowed the iPad to fall farther into the left pedal and jam between the heel slide support assembly. That's this area here where his feet are resting on. The jammed iPad prevented the pedals from recentering. The iPad also pushed against the co-pilot's left pedal adjustment lever. Remember, these rudder pedals are adjustable for longer legs or shorter legs. When pressure was applied to the pilot's right pedal, the iPad was squeezed in between the pedal and the heel slide support assembly, which was concentrated near the gouges. So, in other words, the gouges lined up. The gouges in the iPad aligned with a sharp vertical metal piece of the heel slide support assembly underneath the heel slide, as seen in figures 3, 4, and 5. Additional right pedal input forced the iPad to apply more pressure to the co-pilot's left pedal adjustment lever. So here's the left rudder pedal here. Here's the left rudder pedal adjustment lever. Here's the right rudder pedal over here and brakes. And here is the right rudder pedal adjustment lever. So if you pull these rudder pedal adjustment levers inboard, you can adjust the rudder pedals on these various holes right here. So you can adjust them for the length of your legs. So it looks like not only did the iPad jam the left rudder pedal, it also moved the adjustment lever, opened it up, and allowed the rudder pedals to change adjustment, the left rudder pedal to change adjustment. Figure 3, the iPad impinged in between the co-pilot's left pedal and the airframe. The backside of the iPad is pushing against the left pedal adjustment lever, shown here. The lower left corner of the iPad is lodged into a small corner of the airframe down here, and the gouges in the iPad align with the sharp vertical metal piece of the heel slide support assembly right down here. Figure 4, the iPad impinged in between the co-pilot's left pedal over here and the airframe down here on the lower left corner of the iPad. The back side of the iPad is pushing against the left pedal adjustment lever right here. And this is where the iPad is bent. The entire back side of the iPad is bent. The lower left corner of the iPad is lodged into a small corner of the airframe right here. The gouges in the iPad align with the sharp vertical metal piece of the heel slide support assembly right down here. Here's another view of the iPad just perfectly jammed in between the left rudder and the airframe. Post-accident examination of the accident helicopter revealed that the co-pilot's left pedal was at the forwardmost adjustment setting and the co-pilot's right pedal was at the middle adjustment setting. So the adjustment on the rudder pedal was moved by the jammed iPad on the left rudder pedal on the co-pilot's side. With seat restraints on and seats adjusted for comfort, both a 5'7" male and a 6'2" male could not reach the iPad in this position. The accident co-pilot's height was 5 feet 10 inches. Additionally, wearing a flight helmet would limit the ability to reach down as the flight helmet would contact the instrument panel visor. And here they recreated this in that example helicopter. So it's too far stuck down in the well to reach by hand, and you can't get your head up underneath the instrument panel in time to reach down there and dislodge the iPad. The NTSB also released results of the video study where they take the accident investigation video provided by the bystander and break it down looking at the frame rate and resolution of the video, and they are able to determine the rate of rotation of the helicopter, the yaw rate at 148 degrees per second, and also were able to determine that the RPM of the rotors were normal RPM. Conclusions: the yaw pitch and roll angles and yaw rate and the AGL altitude of the helicopter that crashed into the river were estimated based on the visual information in a video recorded by the handheld camera. This is why this kind of evidence is so important if you witness one of these accidents, to get this data to the NTSB. The estimated counterclockwise yaw rate at the helicopter at the time it impacted the water was 148 degrees per second. The rotor speeds of the helicopter were estimated based on the visual information and the sound of the video. The rotor speeds were found to be close to a rated speed of 225 RPM at the time of impact, which is normal rotor RPM for the CH-47D. And these are the tragic results of something just as simple as an iPad getting loose in the cockpit in one of these machines, resulting in the loss of both of these pilots' lives. Looking at the co-pilot side of the helicopter, there's the rudder pedal assembly showing the rudder pedals still in a full left rudder position. And with his window popped open, how the iPad was ejected from the wreckage once it hit the water. A very sobering public docket review of the NTSB accident of the CH-47D helicopter, firefighting helicopter in North Fork, Idaho last year, of something so simple as a personal electronic device getting loose in the cockpit. Something for all of us to be aware of. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.